President Trump is in Texas today ahead of Tuesday's primary election. One of Texas's seats in the U.S. Senate is up for grabs come November. The current occupant of that seat, Senator John Cornyn, up for re-election, but he's got some competition. I want to bring in CBS News senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe joins us live from Texas. Ed, the president just spoke about the Iran negotiations moments ago. What did he say?
That's right, Elizabeth, arriving here at the Port of Corpus Christi for a tour because Venezuelan oil has now been delivered into this port as it joins the American petroleum supply, part of the reason he's here. But it is that issue, that concern, the planning going on about potential U.S. military action against Iran that is very much on his mind and on the mind of reporters traveling with him. He was asked about it just a short time ago. Take a listen.
Can't put up with it too long. We're not happy with the negotiation. They just don't want to. They don't want to say the key words. We're not going to have a nuclear weapon. They have to say we're not going to have a nuclear weapon, and they just can't quite get there. They want to enrich a little bit. You don't have to enrich when you have that much oil. So I'm not happy with the negotiation.
Now that flies in the face of something that Oman's foreign minister, who's been brokering the talks between the United States and Iran, told our Margaret Brennan this afternoon. He said that talks between the U.S. and Iran are within our reach, peace is within our reach. And he said Iran has agreed that it will, quote, never ever have nuclear material that will create a bomb, which he called a big achievement. So is it the Iranians indeed saying what the president wants to hear, or is he not hearing it explicitly enough from them? We'll see. And all that comes, of course, amid the big military buildup in the Middle East. We've seen an unprecedented number of aerial and naval assets head into that region in recent days as the military buildup continues and the president continues deliberating over what to do next.
And I want to switch gears to why we are speaking to you from Texas today. You're there ahead of the primary election on Tuesday. No clear front runner in this race. President Trump has not announced who he's going to endorse. What can he tell us?
Yeah, so Texas kicks off the 2026 campaign season across the country on Tuesday, along with Arkansas and North Carolina. But there are a handful of competitive races in this state, caused in part by the president's call last summer for Texas to redraw its congressional map. So the handful of House races where Republicans are facing Republican opponents. And then there's the big U.S. Senate contest. As you mentioned, Senator John Cornyn, who has served for 24 years, facing two opponents, the Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton and Congressman Wesley Hunt of Houston. All three have been eagerly seeking the president's endorsement, believing it could help them get over the top, because in Texas, if you don't get 50% in the first round of a primary, you head to a runoff in late May, and that appears to be where the Senate primary especially could be headed, as Democrats may settle their candidate on Tuesday and open up the real possibility, Elizabeth, of a competitive Senate contest in this state for the first time since George H.W. Bush was elected president. So Republicans understand they may have a bit of a problem down here, which is why on the last day of early voting, the president is here. Ahead of him, we heard from several of the Republicans he's endorsed for Congress. The one we didn't hear from is Congressman Tony Gonzalez from the San Antonio area. He is here. In fact, I believe we have footage of him in this crowd a little earlier, off to the side and not necessarily hamming it up, if you will, with his colleagues, but he did appear here because he understands, as any Republican does on the ballot really anywhere across the country. If you don't, there you see him along the back wall there. That's the Congressman, Tony Gonzalez. Remember, he's facing allegations that he had an affair with a staffer who committed suicide last year. That woman's husband has released text messages in recent days alleging to show that the two of them were in communication. That would be a violation of U.S. House rules, and it's become a big factor in his competitive primary. The president and Republicans had endorsed the incumbent Gonzalez, but have sort of acknowledged what he's facing and say he has to answer to it. The congressman, so far at least, refusing to resign, though voters may have something to say about that next Tuesday. Elizabeth?
A lot of really interesting races to watch for next Tuesday, and not only in Texas where you are, but in other states across the country. And I commend you for keeping your focus with all that music playing in the background. Really interesting choice of songs there. You got everything going on, but you kept your focus. I'm impressed.
10 plus years of this Trump playlist, Elizabeth. You get used to it after a while.
After a while. You got a little bit of everything going on. All right, Ed O'Keefe, thanks so much. Always good to see you.